All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special event we have for you today. Something a little bit different, there.
Yep. Now we have the kids playing it up. We've already seen the pros, the top shelf people, but somebody has to replace them at some point. So now we have the kids, the up and comers as they were. It's gonna be fun.
I like it. I think a very appropriate time to have it right at the end of the year. Maybe in one way you could look at the beginning of the next year, obviously with reference to our seasons here, but it's something pretty special. I think the fact that we're out here with the school kids, I'm being called sir a lot, that's okay.
Yeah,
so
that's
good schools here.
I don't know if I'm okay with that. It makes me feel a lot older than I actually am, or maybe I'm
We
just
are
feeling my
old.
age. No, we're not.
We're old now.
We can still join the youth league. It's fine.
Anyways, but it's a pretty fantastic event. So massive shout out to everyone involved. Of course, VS Gaming putting this together, bringing all these schools here to give us something truly special. And I think you can see it on the faces of the guys walking around here. Obviously, this is special to them too, an opportunity to represent their school in something that they probably never thought they'd have the opportunity to do.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these kids traveled really far to get out here, right? I believe there's at least 2 schools at this event from Durban. So people, I don't know, it's also kind of exciting to see that's LAN environment again, right? This situation where it's just kids, just your computers, you're all here playing, just trying to win, right? Without some of the quote-unquote politics, of the bigger scene, just pure Dota, just kids having a good time. It's actually really exciting to see. And like you say, when you look at the kids' faces, they're not just excited about winning prize money or how far we're going to place in the year, how much clout we're going to get as an organization, who we're going to kick or whatever. It's just about Dota.
Who are we going to kick?
Hey, that's an important part of the game at some point. But now it's just Dota. Now we're just having a good time.
So of course, for those of you who aren't aware, this is once again being hosted at the Matrix Maverick Esports Center. So it is a live event. We have tons of games going on as well. So if you're interested in CSGO, League of Legends, there'll also be the opportunity to enjoy those titles as well. But don't go anywhere, of course, because Dota is that's a game you really want to be supporting. It is the best of the best, and I can't wait to see what the future holds by virtue of these two sides. Of course, this game, I believe it's Grey First 15 versus Blow Machine or something. My Afghan's terrible.
Yeah, I forget which school it was exactly. I think it was Ligbron was the first school that was up.
I'm literally checking now.
Just going to make sure. I mean, you can just check the title of the stream. And we'll know
I'll leave you to check. I'll cast a bit. I'll do that instead. But I know it's really funny because I actually said to you whilst this was started, like, oh, it's the Grey First 15 because the first 11, all those things. But it's just a V, guys.
It's just a V.
It's the first 5, and I tell you what, that's actually pretty cool. Byron so far, 2 apiece, but no sides opting to contest either side. So obviously, we would somewhat expect these teams to be a little bit less experienced, so both sides interestingly opting not to contest either side of the ruin. Often all we see is that teams will go into one side, pick on it and fortify it, and then somewhat ignore each other.
Yeah.
But in this case, well, looks like they're keen to
just play some standard
just stay on their
Dota.
side of the river.
Yeah, just play some. They're like, guys, let's not do any shenanigans, have a gentleman's agreement, just going to play some nice standard Dota. And interesting fact as well is that Fairgrey High School, one of the teams here, is where Demonic went to high school, so this is like his alma mater in some sense. One thing that's going to be interesting to see, though, we were speaking about this beforehand, like off screen. This Pangolier being played in a support capacity right now for Childish Sad Bino. It's not something that we tend to see at all. We don't see this hero writ large, but we very rarely see it in a support capacity either. So it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens in this game, like if this hero scales at all, especially versus like the kind of laning setup that they're going to be dealing with right now between the Shadow Shaman and the Magnus. A ton of harass potential that keeps coming out here. But I suppose it's one of, he can deal. There's a reason he showed up to the lane with triple mangoes. There's no way that you end up dying in this situation as the Pangolier. Going to have the Swashbuckle, always going to be able to get yourself around. And then PA as well, just happily farming the lane. No real complications, no real issues for him there. Mid, this is not going to be fun. It's going to be a difficult game. You're playing OD versus this Kunka. Kunka is always going to be able to out-CS you, but you're doing quite well right now as you peak. I suppose like if he did put the 2 points into Astral, so he knows there's going to be a method to make sure he can get his own CS. But it starts to get dangerous when you run out of HP. He still has a healing salve. Okay, that's going to be fine. Healing salve, double tangos. It's all good.
I'm off to a good start here. After not having Earthy to observe for me, got a bit lazy here. Anyways, missing the first blood, which does go the way of the Radiant side.
Yeah, it happens.
I'm now confused. Which side is which?
Radiant side should be Fairgrey High School, or is it the vice versa?
I think Gray. I remember Gray having the
No, yeah, Fair Grey High is on Dire, yeah. Fair Grey High is on
right.
Dire, and then Ligbron School of Technology is on Radiant.
Gotcha.
Which is probably why they call themselves Blow Machine, right? Because School of Technology, machines. Makes sense.
Maybe it's just their school colors. I'm from Cape Town, so I don't really know all the different sites. All interesting, as you mentioned, not all the sites are from Cape Town, so
Yeah.
it's who
Oh,
knows?
top.
They're once again doing a lot of damage. Pango actually doing a good job, but he is very, very low. One hit away from dying, trying to bait around the sidelines here. I think he actually tangoed twice there, and there's somebody ate one of the trees. But it's surprising to see that exchange going in favor of the voice from the Dire, as that is in fact a lane I think is kind of weak. They don't do well with harassment,
Yeah.
and with the Shadow Shaman as well as the Magnus being these really heavy hitters in lane, literally. They're not two heroes that I would personally like to play up against with that combination.
He's going to have to be forced to get back to base quite soon on Pangolier. Right now, Childish said Bino is about to crack level 3, but he doesn't have any additional regen. There's Shackles going on the top. Are they going to get the skewer?
Put him back in, but fortunately for him, of course, being a PA, it does have an easy get-out-of-jail-free card. So what works well on either of these two heroes is interesting, because, of course, you have the Swashbuckle as well available to Childish. So it shouldn't be too hard for either of those two to get away from that kind of trick, but it's some damage out regardless.
Yeah, and this is going to be an off-lane mag that's very soon going to be able to just jump back towards the shrine. At that point, you're going to have to go shrine up yourselves. They still seem okay. Looks like Charles said Bino ate the other mango, so everything's okay for him. In the mid lane, okay, Kunka. Wait, is he going to die? No, he's not. He's fine. I do think that Ubik should start putting more points into the queue. The Arcane Orb is going to be necessary to harass this Kunka. And he did put one now, once he hit level 5. Right thing to do in this situation. I am kind of surprised at the fact that this Kunka put any points at all into the X mark. I kind of feel like in this lane you just go all in with the Torrent Tidebringer. Don't really have to worry that much about the X.
It's quite a challenging lane as well for the Kunka, especially when they hit 6, because at the moment you're expecting that Outwall to hit 6 before the Kunka, and of course he's going to have a fairly significant intelligence gain over the Kunka, so
Yeah.
can really take a lot of damage. But once more, using his Astral quite nicely to make sure he gets off the deny and the range creeps, making sure he's getting well ahead in, as far as XP goes, and of course even that CS starting to build a very good lead.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you always have access to playing OD. You can always make sure that you get the deny on the range creep, and especially when these last hit situations happen where you Tidebringer but it just doesn't die. Feels pretty bad to the Kunka right now. And 5 minutes in, we're going to see new bounty runes getting picked up somewhere. And looks like they're going to get all 4 for Ligbron, or at least 3 of them. Yeah, Fair Grey is only going to be able to pick up the 1 on the other side. Feels kind of bad for them. Oh, wait, is he? Oh, yeah, literally going to get there in time. This would have been so sad if he didn't get there in time, but it's okay. It's not so bad. I'm really worried about Bristle. Oh, is he dead? Is he dead? Yeah, he's dead.
Well, I don't know. Nothing
Oh.
available to him just yet. Does get some support coming out from Mount Chili, but idea known. Probably didn't need it. Not the same old Lich. He's actually running a little bit low in mana, so possibly a little bit wasted there, but he's making sure his friend stays alive. It's important. Top lane will find a kill firstly onto that PA, and they're going to try stand their ground. Charles Computer goes in, but he does miss with the swashbuckle, so he's going to pay for that most likely as he gets run down by Lucas van Rooyen.
Feels bad. You ended up losing both heroes in the lane. You try to get the punish off. A little bit too greedy there, diving underneath
bottom.
tower.
Yeah, this time they will get the bristle back as well. Power is able to finish the job here.
Yeah, Fair Grey High School is not looking too good right now, having bled a couple of kills here in the early game, and they definitely have the kind of draft that requires them to do well early on. Their catch-up potential is somewhat limited. None of their heroes, unless this PA ends up getting Battle Fury, don't really farm particularly quickly. She might go for the Maelstrom, actually, rather. But I don't know. They're also going to start running into issues eventually if the Slog picks up a Silver Edge. You don't often see the Slog getting it, but against Bristleback, PA, and Pangolier, there's absolutely no reason not to pick up that item.
It's a bit we didn't see the drop. I'm actually curious to know what time this mag actually was picked, because of course that's something that they would have loved to have on the opposite side team. Obviously that power works so well with PA, but it's not bad on his side either. It's just goes pretty decently with the stock. It's not like I would say the ideal combination, but it certainly does help all melee cores.
Yeah.
And Kunka as well has an interesting mechanic with that. He's obviously already cleaving next to Tidebringer, and now he's going to do a little bit more. Does in fact commit here. Does he go in with everything and will get a lot of damage onto Ubik, sorry, but not enough to finish the job. No support coming in, and that means he's going to be able to solve the one up, no problem.
And you got power trades on the way, and were delivered from the courier, so very easy escape there for the OG. Going to be very happy about that because it also forced a lot of mana out of Kunkka. Well, actually not that bad. It's okay. It's just the Kunkka. The Pirates will be able to do what he wants at the end of the day. One thing that I'm going to start getting concerned about, though, like you were mentioning how with this Magnus being involved, it helps out the Slok. I'm just thinking about how much faster the Slok is going to be able to farm this game, how much further ahead he can go against the PA, especially if she's having a rough time in the laning phase. Oh, Yusuf cancelled the shackles, walked away by mistake there. PA most likely dies in that situation because it would have been nothing for her to blink strike away to. But fortunately, for her at the very least, Yusuf does end up letting go of the shackles. I don't think it matters that much though, right? Because PA isn't really getting as much farm as she would like, even though she's trading
Sorry,
decently.
they're still going once again back on Charles Gambino, but he will Gambino, sad Bino, excuse me. But he goes on to the other side of the swashbuckle, will survive it. Once again, those blinkers causing problems, but this time, blink that, says Eurofrodo, brings him in. Can he find the escape? Not at all. Brought down by the cleave thanks to that Tidebringer. Do find another kill. Simone Gray looking really, really confident here, and in fact, pick up another kill on the other side of the map as well. Form of the Lich this time.
Ooh, things are starting to get a bit out of hand right now. 6-0 kill score, 4k gold lead in favor of Ligbron. Not all hope is lost. There still is one or two opportunities once they get all their ultimates online. In particular, once they have the Rolling Thunder as well as the Chain Frost, you can try and make some big plays happen. But you don't get level 6 if you get forced out of the lane, and Pango can't really approach the tier 1 tower anymore. It's been completely taken over by the Ligbron side. And they're soon going to have level 6 as well on the Shadow Shaman.
They're going in more again on this Lich in the bottom lane. Mount Chili in trouble here. Don't have Leech available, because they're assuming Leech available since they did use it on the Bristleback, but they'll finish it off all the same, just with some right clicks and some slow.
And that's money towards the Hannah Midas. Ogre getting big.
Well, top lane, they are going to re-engage here onto Yusuf, and they should be able to finish him off here. Oh,
nice.
They left the kill for the carry, so nice work there, but in the end, a nice, easy kill, and they finally do manage to find themselves on the scoreboard.
That was actually a really good move from them, because as soon as they saw Magnus showing up in the mid lane, they have this observer on the high ground as well. So they see their movement, they realize we finally have an opportunity to get something happening. And bottom, they're going to get leashed on the OD.
They should be able to finish him off pretty easily here. Multicast also comes out, but he is pretty tanky. Eventually will be brought down. Did take 4 heroes, though, to rotate down here, including the offlaner. But it was a mid who was doing very well. He was actually leading the net worth for a time. So I'm okay with the fact that they opted to commit so heavily to that kill.
Yeah, they committed like it was vows before a divorce. That was kind of crazy. Will they actually get this PA kill? Oh, nice. She activates the blur, making sure that she's not going to get spotted out of the map. Nah, she'll be fine. Can maybe even get a turnaround here. They actually get killed on the other side of the map. How is this Kunkka everywhere right now? Just bouncing from lane to lane at the moment.
It's interesting because he's almost playing, as you'd expect, the 4-position Kunkka. Just moving around the map quite a bit. It has not cost him very much because he's been effective doing it. Normally you would expect to see Kunkka just sit mid, try to get some farm, etc. But in this case, he just keeps going for these ganks. And if you take a look at his last hits, it's quite significantly behind the OD, but it doesn't matter because he's involved in all these kills. That's making sure that he gets that net worth he requires. Yeah,
he has more net worth than the OD right now, well on the way towards picking up a Shadow Blade. And it's going to be really problematic for them to be playing up against these high mobility, in and out sort of ganking style. Because they're the ones that they don't really have strong team fights right now on the side of Grey High School. So in that situation, when you don't have any decent ways to take fights yourselves, you can get picked off across the map. You're not really a threat when you're standing all as 5. And BB's going to die again at bottom.
You really don't want to be dying this much as a Bristleback. It's not a hero you want to be playing catch-up on.
Nope.
We didn't catch too much of this lane and how this progressed to be in this position, but really, you just cannot allow yourself to fall this far behind.
Yeah, they did the Slog versus Bristleback counter. Put 2 points into the essence shift. Bristleback shows up, you hit him a couple times. He'll annoy you, poking you with the quill spray or whatever. But once you hit level 6, you didn't take absolutely no damage from him anymore. And I think the PA is dead at top. Slog is showing up now.
Oh, they got a pretty decent RP as well. They're going to not quite connect properly with each other, but it doesn't matter. A cute attempt there, using the Serpent Wards to bring the 2 heroes into a trapped position. Obviously, both blinkers once more, so they would have been able to get out, even with the swashbuckle. They're moving on to that Pangolier. But
it's a pretty good kill to get,
They get the kill. Worked out nicely. And once more, Gray looking impressive here in the early stage of this matchup. Bottom lane, also, we'll see the Ogre in a lot of trouble. Should be run down here. ID Unknown does have a point in Vish Nasal Goose, so make sure he can't run away.
Nice.
Finish off the kill.
Look at this situation, man. Bristleback has less net worth than the Ogre right now, so that's a mega value kill. And they're trying to go for Kunkka mid, but the Kunkka is a bit too tanky, a bit too speedy, just walks away. And what really hurts right now, I think, is the fact that Slock, as that kill happened, ended up picking up an Echo Saber right next to where the Magnus was. So he got an Empower, able to farm through these creep waves. It's going to start getting richer and richer. And they got Blink on Magnus. That's very scary. He's actually hiding out in the mid lane. They're hoping to try and catch out OD, but they're moving towards top. I think they maybe don't want to be there. Yeah, it's the right thing to do. Just get back, guys.
I really do hope that they find something with this Blink dagger. It's one of those feel-good moments. But the one thing he didn't do, which I find interesting, he didn't buy himself a smoke. So, hold on. There's going to be some action here. Pango is using Rolling Thunder, but he hasn't connected with anything. Doesn't want to go too deep in. We'll just back up. But it did prevent, at the very least, the Magnus from committing to that fight.
Yeah, that was, I think he was hoping for a somewhat different result. He was hoping to be able to get in as soon as the Astral finished with the Rolling Thunder. You trap the Kunkka in between the spot on the stairs, force him to get bounced around. But better yet, he even prevents another gank from the enemy team. But Lucas van Rooyen is not content to give up just yet. He's still sticking around in the mid lane. Still has Blink, and he's going to have RP in 10 seconds as well.
Well, let's see if he can make something of it. They will pull back the OD. Hits him a little bit further back with Shockwave. He's going to stand his ground. Defensively, Astrals, the timing is good as well. In comes Pango. Charles just wants to help up, but the RP is good. They won't have the skewer back available, but look at the damage from the Tidebringer. No kills, though, as now Surax tries to find something. Ubik wants to get a little bit of damage out. Isn't enough. So at the end, a lot of LTs used, but no one falls.
Yeah, that could have gone really south for the side of Lightroom. If they had enough mana for the OD to cast his ultimate, that would have been a really different
Power's
situation.
really deep here. Gets a little bit of support coming out from Leonard.
I don't think you want to be here right now. They should get back. Your Magnus is very low on HP. They're just going to go back and shrine right now. They might decide to smoke after this, though. But no one's carrying a smoke, like you mentioned earlier. Check this build. Look how tanky he wants to get on Magnus. Vlad's Shiva's guard. Oh, my God.
It is interesting. He's lined up everything here, so he's going to have a lot of armor. And obviously playing that utility hero with the arcane boots as well. So it'll be interesting to see if he does actually get beyond that point, what he goes for next. See if he goes for something like a pipe maybe. I don't see anyone lining up the pipe yet, so that is not an awful thing. The Lich as well as the OD obviously capable of some pretty decent magic damage.
Yeah, OD in particular can really complicate life for you. Surax might die to the slog. Okay, forced to just back himself away from that. That would have really been an issue, but this is actually kind of sad though. We're still so far away from Surax having any kind of final item. Looks like going for the early Vlads, which is fine, but you're going to be getting Vlads at 20 minutes when you should be having a Battle Fury and or Maelstrom. Rough game to be in right now. But
he is half the net worth of his counterpart on the other side. And Slark is a hero that I think wants to dominate from the beginning, and he's able to do just that in this position without much fear.
They smoked. Speaking of Slark, he smoked up with his team. They want to try find this kill onto Pia, and she's so low in HP.
Well, they're going to find the unfortunate target here being the Armadillo, the Pangolier.
What a player, actually. That's the second time he's used his potential, his movement around the map to prevent a gank from happening on one of his cores. First stopping them from getting the kill onto OD mid, now sacrificing his life so that PA can escape. They're going to get the tier 1, but in the grand scheme of things, I think if you're Fair Grey, you're much happier with the fact that this PA ends up surviving. She can retreat into the jungle, but they're not done. They really want her.
Just want to point out they do have a very deep engagement from Powers. Also got the Midas up on the Ogre Magi. Looks like they want to commit to the Lich. They're going to pull him back in with Torrent. No mistakes here as Manchali is brought down. Ubik has to back out. Used the Astral to buy himself space. And Lich was dead either way, so I don't blame him for doing so. But Serpent was also committed to this tier 2 tower, which means that Grey have a 14k lead, 16 minutes in, maybe looking to make very quick, short work of this game.
Oh, bottom?
Yeah,
Bottom?
Unknown. He's not where he needs to be right now. As Powers comes as well. Look at the damage just exploding. That's a bristleback. Didn't turn his back onto the Slark, which may have been a mistake, but it was somewhat irrelevant. He was dead either way. And one question though, Shadowblade coming out in the Slark. How do you feel about that?
Oh, this is a great game for Shadowblade. Like this, PA is going to, especially once the Silver Edge comes out, PA is just going to be food for Slark. Same applies for virtually every other hero. The only one that maybe has potential to escape away from the Slark might be this Pangolier, and OD perhaps if he manages to find a good Astral after the pounce. But yeah, Slark's just going to be this huge terror on the map, already looking for his first kill. Is this a PA by herself? Is she dead? I think she's
in a lot
dead.
of trouble here. Will
Yeah.
get leashed up as well. And Powers needs to just make sure he finishes the job. He's got nothing to blink to. He's looking for some kind of support. Will use a little bit of fancy footwork, but it's not going to be enough as Powers does finally bring him down.
And it only gets harder from here on out. Once the silver edge emerges, it's going to be even faster. And we saw that kill at Bristleback at bottom. That was before the silver edge was available on Slock, and Slock is already such a terror. Really does feel like at this point in time, on Dire, the game is just completely spiraling out of control. And you still don't have the Vlads on PA. She was looking for this item. She died inside the jungle. So now they're going to have no ability to contest when this tier 2 tower gets taken. They're already setting up for it. They send the Slock and the Magnus to start pushing from the tier 1. Yusuf on the Shadow Shaman is preparing to drop down the Mass Serpent Wards once he has it in front of the tower. Playing some very, very clean Dota here.
I gotta say, that's a very fair way of calling it. This does look like a team, opposed to potentially what you may have expected from this kind of environment where a lot of almost pub-looking Dota was occurring. But if you look at this, the Shadow Shaman, he's clearly been given the instructions. You're going to use these to push.
Yeah.
He's used it once in a team fight, and I think it was fine when he used it. It wasn't a bad call at all. It ensured that they got the 2 kills on the top lane. But every other time he's used it, it's been to apply pressure on the map somewhere else. So obviously, as you said, he's going to just wait this out, go to the top lane, and that means they get the full set. They've already moved the middle and bottom towers, so this will be the last one, which will totally open up the map for them. And right now, there doesn't seem to even be much hope for their opponents. They're being locked into a cage that's slowly being formed and tightening around them.
Yeah, I think their draft is not really doing them any favors right now. Like, they're going to have to really reassess what they did here. In particular, I don't think the Bristleback Lich lane did what they wanted it to. And now you're in this weird situation where the draft that you expected to go a particular way is the one, or the lane in particular is the one where you allowed the Slock to have the biggest impact. And now he's head and shoulders above everybody else. We're always afraid of the Slock hero getting out of control as the game scales. But if you just allow it to happen from the beginning, from the jump itself, you're in this weird situation where you can't really play against this hero. And like you say, because there's already 2 Shadow Blades, one on Slock, one on... Oh, Kunkka changed his mind, went for the Daedalus. Already has it coming out. Are you kidding me?
I really like this build, by the way, from out from the Kunkka. I'm a big fan of just getting a lot of tanky items on him and then moving to it. So I wouldn't even mind it even if he'd gone something more direct, like you know something the Chinese players do where they go straight for the heart.
Oh yeah,
Old school. Really love it though. Oh, Surax, that's not where you want to be. Gets multicast well, gets a little bit of help from Childish, but he's not committing to anything right now. Doesn't use the ulti. Going to be brought down the sideline as well. So Surax, as well as his co-laner, will be brought down towards the top shrine. And that's just more bad news. They can't go into here. In fact, what I'd love to see them do is instead of farming in this area here where they do have this one ward up, just move straight down into your opponent's jungle.
Yep.
Try to operate in this kind of environment because that's not where the objectives that Grey are interested in taking are. So less likely that there'll be heroes around there. And Yusuf, this time around, he's going to commit to the mass. He's not going to commit to the mass serpent wards. And what that means is they're going for high ground here, most likely. And why not? They're in a fantastic position. It is a little bit hard for their roster to go up high ground. They only have the mass serpent wards that give them real high ground aggression. But here's the thing: there's no wave clear or anything on the other side either. So there we go. I'm going to commit to the serpent wards and see if they can finish this one off. A lot of damage to come out into Powers, but he can happily just walk out and regenerate. Childish will commit the Rolling Thunder. They're going to back off. He is very deep in there. Even if he gets this off, he's in trouble. Only level 7. They're going to start hunting him down now. Yusuf and Kirk will get around him. He'll be controlled and brought down. Backlines. So Lucas managed to get the RP. Brings in 2 important characters as well. They start focusing down onto this outward Dwarf and do bring him down quite easily. The Lich LT is doing a lot of work in the backlines, but he's brought down by the Serpent Wards. They're going to lose now. That's 4. Buyback comes out from the PA. I don't like that because there's nothing he can do here, and I doubt there's any buybacks on his friends. Not available at all. Rather, not worthwhile, especially with the time that they are down 4.
Oof. Wow, what a painful fight for them to take. They end up in a situation where they lose absolutely everything. Rolling Thunder, they tried in some way to interrupt the push, but it just wasn't enough. They're just too strong right now. And like you said, that buyback, it's from the PA that she still does not have access to the Vlads. So there's absolutely no damage that she's able to put out just now. End up just being a waste of money, her coming back into the game. And what might have been a hopeful endeavor for them ends up with just the racks being lost anyway. And they still only lose the support and Magnus after his cast RP. So nothing of value is lost. You can just go back, take Roche, come back high ground and try again.
So I think probably a good point though as well, since this is almost educational tournament, if you think about it. Just so you guys know, we really don't hate you or anything. We make these criticisms. It is supposed to be constructive. So the big thing about when you're buying back, though, in those kind of situations, it really does need to be a situation where you can get some real value out of the situation.
Yeah.
So in that kind of position where you don't have anything to buy back into, you're literally just somebody who has to watch the rest of the fight happen, or in this case, your structures fall. So you really want to find that either you're getting a couple of important kills, defending an objective, or something out of the deal. Top lane, though, they're going to lose another. Oof. This time, it's going to be both the ID Unknown and Mount Chili fall in the top lane.
I don't understand how that kill happened, though, because they have an observer ward down here, so they knew that they were still in the area. Just got caught out a little bit, a bit too greedy farming out on the map. And like you mentioned, there's things you can't do, right? You can't farm on the map when you know the enemy might be nearby, and you can't buy back if you don't have anything to buy back into. You're just wasting money. She's still looking for the Vlads, and they're already in the Roshan pit. They're like, well, we're going to get this Aegis. Look at the Slock right now. Level 15, Echo Saber, Silver Edge, halfway towards having a full Eye of Skadi. 13k net worth, by far ahead of anybody else in this game. But I think the scariest thing, he's got 20 Agi stolen right now. That is
crushing right now. It just looks so slick from Grey. I don't feel like there's been much of a chance to play against him. Once again, the draft coming out is very hard to do. 4-position Pangos, they're actually pretty good, but there's such a high degree of difficulty in performing well as a 4-position Pango.
Yeah.
It's not an easy one to do. Although Lich is, I would say, an easier hero to play, it doesn't offer a huge amount. So you have a very tough support combination coming out. They're going to commit the Chain Frost again, but Powers immediately shrugs that one off. And he's, of course, got that Shadow Blade up with Silver Edge, in fact. So he's going to be 100% okay. Manchili certainly should have waited a little bit longer. They dropped the Serpent Wards down one more time. They are also level 2. So RP comes in. Actually a pretty good Rolling Thunder. They're doing a lot of damage to Lucas. He's controlled. They're going to toss through the Coco Rum as well. But will they finish off the Bristleback? Easily they do so. And now Powers straight into the back lines. Will be controlled by Ubik this time with the Astral. Back lines, a lot of just nuke pressure coming out from the likes of the Ogre Magi. They haven't finished off their axis yet, but they're in a very good position to do so. Just with the mag down, there's going to have to be a reset coming out from the defending side, but unfortunately for them, it's going to take too long to come out. In comes Charles, who wants to try and bring down the Slock. Remember, there's an Aegis on that as well. They dropped down Ubik's ultimate, but it wasn't able to bring down the Slock, who stands tall. Will find another kill here, most likely. Frodo happy to finish this one off, limping towards the Lich. It doesn't even manage to do so because it's Yusuf. He managed to get a triple kill with the Rasta. Back lines, once again, Power still once more. Will pick up some more. ID Unknown charges back into the fray. I think they know this one's pretty much done. They're just having a little bit of fun here.
Yeah, this game does not seem like it's going to be able to continue much longer. That fight, they lose tier 2s, they lose the tier 3 again. Racks are taken, and Unknown, having brought back, does a dieback once more. This game feels like it's pretty much over, let's be honest. Like, there's one more Racks that they can still take, but it doesn't seem like they need to. At this point, Kuka's not even in the fight anymore. He's bottom, just chilling, pushing out the wave. Slock knows that it's unlikely to kill him once, let alone kill him twice. They've already dropped down the OD ultimate. And when you use Sanity's Eclipse on Slock and Slock doesn't die anyway, then you're like, okay, guys, this game is pretty much in the bag.
Also, you just got to finish with your items here, right? That's where this is going. Yeah, that's why your Kunka's gone shopping. He's just trying to make sure he just needs a javelin. There you go. Then he'll be happy. Then we can finish, guys. So a couple hundred gold.
They at least got the Aegis. That's the one thing, right? Powers is like, okay, guys, I'm a bit magnanimous. I'm a gentle god. I'll allow this to happen.
In the end, it is such a slick performance, actually. I got to say, I'm so impressed. My pick of the players may have actually been Yusuf. I've loved the way he plays Shadow Shaman. Of course, he goes in now. Maybe casts Curse here. Will get a beautiful defensive Astral coming out from Ubik, but not able to capitalize on just the level difference, the item difference, just far too much. Look at that Bristleback explode.
And what doesn't help as well is the damage from this Kunka. It just hurts so much. Full dateless, halfway towards completing like the 4 MKB. There's almost no consequence for them making these kind of moves right now. And like I do think for me my MVP combination has to be Lucas van Rooyen plus Yusuf. They played really well together. Set up a lot of massive kills for their team. A lot of important ones, in fact. And Lucas van Rooyen, more than once we've seen him get multi-man RPs, which sort of changed the game in their favor.
I mean, I totally agree with you. The play of I would say the utility players in this team. I think it's a little bit quiet on the Ogre, but that's kind of the nature of the Ogre. I'm interested to see what he'll do as the tournament progresses. But I got to say, as far as, well, there you go. I mean, once again, those two exact players you mentioned, setting up beautiful situations for their team to fight on around. And they've done fantastic well. And you also have to create the cause, because the reality is that it's great being a sport player and creating opportunities and space for your cause to play. But in this position, you've seen how well the cores from Grey have used it. I mean, I would say both the sort of damaging cores, if you would, in Frodo as well as Powers, have done a fantastic job operating with the space provided. So.
Yeah.
The only almost question mark is how good is Kawhi Leonard, and the only reason for that is that Ogre's not exactly a flashy hero. And he's done exactly what you'd expect of an Ogre. You're a fast Midas. This, to me, is a side that's really going to be very hard to beat in this tournament, and it's almost a pity because I'd love to see what the other team can do, but right now they just haven't had an opportunity to play Dota.
Nope, you've been from the jump shut down. But this is kind of one of those situations that happens when you get outdrafted, right? Where there was just no way possible that Grey Gaming was going to lose out in this game, just looking at how the draft itself played out. So they end up with that victory. I do think that, as you mentioned, because they played so well together across the board, and not just, there wasn't one standout player that just took everything for himself, right? Everybody took advantage of the space given to them by others. Everybody made sure that when they made moves around the map, they did it in such a way you can actually get kills and not just, show off to save face. It was just a solid victory. There's not much to say about it. And the question, though, does remain, what would happen if they had to face much harder lanes? Because in this game, you basically had the dream start on every core, right? The only lane that went even was the Kunkka lane, but every other situation was a direct win for Grey Gaming. The Slog Ogre lane demolished the Bristleback and the Lich, and the Magnus with the Shadow Shaman was able to prevent PA from getting anything going in that game. So you just had an easy road ahead of you for Grey Gaming. They took advantage of it, and you end up taking the W.
I mean, I think just looking at these graphs as well, I'm looking for the point in which it becomes. It's just off 20 minutes. That's the point in which your side has the top 5 highest networks in the game. Now, you've heard me talk about the Holy Trinity, which is where you have your top 3 cores. Your top net worth in the game, all belonging to one side's cores.
Yeah.
That's the moment. That's when you kind of feel we're going to win this Dota game. It's almost a guarantee at that point. But in this case, at just over 20 minutes, it's 5. I don't know. We haven't named it yet. We need a name for your top 5. But the reality is, I guess, frankly, Grey looking pretty amazing here. They're a totally solid side. In fact, I would go as far as say that I could imagine this team performing the way that they have just done, being able to compete with some of the best teams in the country. I would say probably there's a lot of individual skill that they're probably still lacking when you compare that to the likes of the Goliath Gamings of this world.
Yeah.
But as far as the teamwork went, it's not much to criticize.
I was, very, very impressed with how they played as a squad, as a team. Very often you see a lot of these teams come together with very high-skilled players, but no idea how to utilize them in tandem. Here that was not an issue at any point in the game. Like, I'm definitely actually with you in saying that they obviously have a long way to go in terms of just their individual skill level, but as it stands right now, just as a team, they should stick together. No matter what happens, get better together, just play Europe ranked, grind it out, guys. All of you hit some higher MMR, all of you hit Divine. They got this. That was very impressive to watch.
It could be an amazing story, actually. But obviously, that we're talking in a very large hypotheticals here because obviously it's impossible to really compare them to a team that's playing the Masters, for example. It's impossible to understand what the difference in skill level goes. And just by clicking through them, I saw that there weren't very many of them participating in ranked gaming. And that is a huge difference. Well, like you're obviously being coached well. You're obviously having an opportunity to really can shine in this kind of environment. But the difference is often based on the individual skill levels as well. You can't do things against better players that you can do against people in the South African public match. So you need to start grinding that rank. But otherwise, as far as your team synergy goes, the drafting, everything like that, really looking very solid.
And also, like, there was someone, who was it, that said something very interesting about the nature of getting better as a team. Because they were saying that I had caps lock on this whole time.
Explains so much. Don't you worry about that, fam.
So they were speaking about how one of the things you need to be able to do is when you're playing against teams that aren't as good as you, or aren't as good as, say, the best teams in the world, right? You need to always, at any given point in time, be playing not just at your best personally, but if you're not being able to roll over, at the very least, do really, really well, right? Teams that are at equivalent skill as you, or teams that aren't as good as the best, then you clearly have some work to do. You have some training to do. And in this situation, they did really well here, but we also know that also a newish team on the other side, right? It's not like Ligbron have been a story team with a lot of history together. They also are still figuring things out themselves. So it does really matter to still play against better opponents. And the only way you do that is you either challenge them. If you can't challenge them directly, just play ranked. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of ranked. So people get good.
I see that Gil Ubik is a legend too, so he's playing some rank, which is good. I also noticed that a lot of the people he's playing with have very low Dota levels, like ranging between 1 and 13, quite literally. I'm not sure if that's because they're using, accounts that they have created just for this, or if perhaps this is something that they only have an opportunity to play at their actual schools.
Yeah.
So, bearing in mind that, I got to say the mechanical control from their players was actually quite respectable. So something for them to gain off. It looks like this is just a little bit one-sided as far as experience goes. I think Gray is clearly, these are some guys who love their Dota in like a big way and have access to a lot of Dota. And I think maybe that's the big thing. But on the other side, doesn't look like they have the same kind of hours that we're seeing on the other team. But at the same time, you've got to give them credit. I mean, Childish, for example, Pango, we spoke about the fact that as a position 4, it's a hard thing to play. And just hitting your swashbuckles can be very challenging for new players. So the fact that he was consistently doing so, he understood the I would say, the limitations around his ultimate. There's something in it there. But it does look like this is going to be a rough one for them to come back into, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. But at the same time, like you said, we did see them they did okay. And one of the things that they did do well, I definitely think, is that they didn't tilt. They didn't crumble. They played the game till the very end. They might not have done all the right things within the game, but their psychology was correct of try to do something, right? Even the one buyback we were criticizing, we criticized it because it was the wrong move in that position, but it's better that he's just making a move. Very often you'll see a lot of younger teams that will be playing when things start going south for them. Just call GG. This game is over. This sucks. This is terrible. But they stuck with it. They kept trying to do things in order to get themselves back in the game. Might not have been things that worked out at the end of the day, and there's more things that they could have tried out. But they had the mentality of try to win. We know we're outclassed. We know that they're going to be able to beat us. But still try. Play the game. See what's going to happen. I mean, they were being fountain farmed, right? And they still didn't GG out of the game until the Ancient itself fell. So, which is, I can tell you, there's not that many teams that would have actually done it in that situation when you're being fountain farmed. Probably talking about the next game, but still showing that positive spirit, right? Moving around the map. And also there was that one moment where they lost the team fight just after they lost their high ground. I think the first laner racks in top lane. And then the next fight that they ended up taking, they took it outside the base, which, you could argue, okay, at least wait for them to soak in the pressure, bring it back towards you. But you try to do something. You try to actually be proactive in playing Dota. And I think its success in Dota is 75% just being more proactive than the enemy team.
I also think what's fantastic about this, and you kind of touched on it, but I'd like to almost explore it even further, is that especially with the kind of environment we find ourselves in, a lot of these players will be brand new to the esports in schools. I'm brand new to esports in schools, right? This is not something we've seen a great deal of in our country. It's fantastic that we are. It's truly magnificent. But there's a benefit in esports that I think that traditional sports don't have, which is amazing actually, is that the degree at which you learn is so much faster in an esport than in a traditional sport. There's so much more to learn, and the little things they have huge impacts on your gameplay. Like you learn one new trick, and all of a sudden you're twice as good a Dota player. You can't do that as potentially like a rugby player. You learn a new thing, 1 out of 1,000 times you get to do it, and you're slightly better, and you keep learning like that. But in an environment like this, when you get, to be frank, completely destroyed by your opponents, you're actually only losing on the numbers. You're learning so much more by every single action. So you've just walked out of this game a better Dota player.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic, and something that I think the sides like this can really enjoy. And by the format of this event, this is a very interesting one. We're pretty much playing for seeding on day 1, and then day 2 goes straight to semi-finals. So everyone's here is going to be here. So the fact is that you're going to come back a better team tomorrow as well, regardless of what happens today. So potentially get a better result tomorrow. Yeah,
you're going to be learning, like there's a 100% chance that they're not going to be picking Bristleback into Slog, 100% chance that if they pick the PA, they're probably going to want to try to get the Magnus. 100% chance that they're not going to put Pangolier support with Lich support. So like you say, sometimes a really hard loss is the best thing for you. You're like, okay guys, our ideas about the game are wrong, but we can get better ideas. We can figure this out. We're young, we're not washed up just yet. Some people get washed early. I know I washed out early, but I'm not the one playing in the tournament, so it's fine.
Yeah. Well, I think we're about ready to go into the next game. So let's see exactly what happens with that one. Why don't you tell us what you'd like to see?
Personally, I want to see them. I think their bans were still fine, right? I don't think they should change anything as a result of that. But what I want to see them is pick a little bit more aggressively and play a little bit better. Maybe, okay, that I actually want to see, right? Someone must pick Night Stalker if it's not banned, but it's probably going to get banned out, so Ligbron should just pick stuns, as many stuns as humanly possible. Pick Sand King, pick Earthshaker, maybe take away the Shadow Shaman as well. Just get things that don't die and things that hurt the enemy, and I'll be happy with the situation.
I like that. I think it's stronger laning phase, especially when you feel like you're struggling to compete pound per pound with the players.
Yeah.
Get stronger lanes because it just gives you a completely different advantage. So I would be happy seeing a lot simpler heroes come out. Something, for example, old school combinations like Crystal Maiden and Juggernaut. Obviously, you see them very squishy, so that brings its own set of problems. But the fact is, it's really straightforward, right? Catch the hero out that you want to kill, identify him, catch him with a couple of slows,
And then you kill him.
run him down.
Maybe you should go Shadow Demon Juggernaut. I've seen that combo a lot lately. They was played a lot in South Korea, Southeast Asia, excuse me. So yeah, that could
Soul
work out as
Catcher
well.
hurts, right?
Yep, Soul Catcher hurts a lot. Disrupt a Soul Catcher into the Blade Spin. It's a lot of damage. So
Or potentially even something, set up like a tri-lane. Potentially something like, because then you can really go like, if you want to go the Shadow Demon route, going with that Soul Catcher into like a Center War Runner, make it a tri-lane. Absolutely. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know how any hero in the game survives Soul Catcher into Double Edge into any other third hero as you're dealing damage.
they won't.
They won't.
No, but it can't happen now. Ligbron actually banned out the Juggernaut. Feels bad.
It could be that Center War Runner.
It could still be Centaur, yeah.
You could do that.
They should pick Centaur actually, because then you can just press R. Because it did something what seemed like one of their issues was knowing where to move with one another on the map. It took them like a second or two to figure out where they want to go together. So if you pick Centaur, Stampede, get there quickly, and it'll be fine.
Hey, why not? Yeah, it's a bit of a get out of jail free card as well. And I noticed that Grey have actually banned out the likes of Nagasari. And then maybe part of their thinking. We see often when sides are playing against teams they feel very confident against, they like to ban out the more cheesier opportunities for teams. So something like a Nagasari where you're like, okay, these guys may try to catch us out in a big wombo combo. What don't we like? We don't like being in a position where we can't respond properly.
Yeah.
We can't respond properly against Nagasari and they get rid of it. Well, interesting that the Meepo gets banned out. Maybe they know something about Ubik. I want to point out as well, Ubik has far more time played than his teammates. So you'll probably find that in a community like ours, that these guys have met each other online before. They may know him. This may be a player who actually enjoys Meepo, or it may be a throwaway ban, which should be a different strategy entirely. A Reddit strategy, if you will.
The Reddit, yeah, man, just leave all the heroes available in the field. But I think it's also like what you just said now. Don't get cheesed. The last thing you want to be get cheesed in a game like this where you already have had such a good showing. So just keep that train going. You're going to be okay. And they banned Magnus. That's actually fine because I think one of the huge things that they lost to was because of how good Lucas van Rooyen played on that Magnus. So don't allow the option to be available. Don't give them Magnus plus a farming hero. So
I tend to agree. Interestingly, once again, I hope they don't go for the pair themselves again now, because what I've noticed is the heroes that banned out are literally all Magnus counterparts.
Oh, yeah.
So it kind of feels a little bit odd in a way that they've banned out the Magnus, because you could have potentially banned out the PA yourself here, and sure, there were other options available. You can't always ban out everything, but you can ban out the ones that really scare you. So potentially, the likes of a PA, probably I don't know, maybe a Sven also bothers you, whatever it might be that couples up well with the Magnus, get rid of those, you can leave the Magnus on the deck.
Yeah.
So right now what they've done though is they've banned out two of the heroes that go well with the Magnus, so the bans don't really make a lot of sense, because either you want to just go get rid of the Magnus, or you leave the Magnus and ban the things you don't like playing against that work with the Magnus. So maybe something to consider for Ubik when he's drafting is, you could have probably achieved the same thing that you've done here with just the Magnus ban.
Just the Mag ban by itself. And it gives you the option to still pick the Juggernaut for yourself, which is a very solid, stable hero in general. Like, you make a good point about you don't want to be as much as humanly possible, unless you're certain about a combo they want to run. You don't want to be banning out too many of the same style of Dota. So, but it's still okay, depending on what they get first, right? As long as it's not something like the Pangolier again or Lich. I like Spirit Breaker because I think it builds upon what I was saying about them being proactive. This is a do stuff hero, right? Part of the reason they lost the laning phase is they didn't feel they could do stuff. Spirit Breaker does a lot of stuff for your team.
Oh, well. Listen, I don't care where we are. I don't care if it's, Masters, if it's like second division, or if it's something a little bit more unusual or special, like an event like this. I love my Pudges.
Pudge.
Listen, don't let me down, Gray. I want to see some hooks. I don't mind if you win or lose the game. I just want to see
a good
fantastic hooks. But what an aggressive start here from Gray. Night Stalker and Pudge. That is heavy aggression. Both these heroes can be used in a very flexible role, so I like that from a drafting perspective. But the aggression is very clear. We're here to fight.
It's gonna suck so much for whoever's playing support on Ligbron's side. Like, can you just imagine this Night Stalker flying over the trees, catching you out? You're trying to TP to safety, and nope, hook. Sorry, fam. It's gonna be brought back to the rest of the team. This is gonna be suck, honestly. Like, I can imagine that Mount Chili on this Lich is not gonna have a good time. The silence is gonna be pretty hard to deal with. The Pudge relocation, like with the hook, very often as Lich, what ends up happening is that the Frost Shield allows somebody to be able to escape. The slow gives you that moment's hesitation to TP out or run away or whatever. Against Pudge, yeah, it's not an option. You try to escape, nope, hook, it's going to bring you right back. And you also have the interesting combination of the ultimate of Pudge versus the Spirit Breaker. Because Spirit Breaker can go nowhere, really. And sometimes you can catch him out with your ult just as he's charging before he hits you with the bash. And it's like, well, okay, I can't really do anything about this.
Sorry, I wanted to go a little bit off the trail. I think this is going to happen a lot there, so I apologize. But I'm in this mindset now of almost trying to provide some different perspectives that to students who are learning the game, etc. I noticed the Lich pick coming up again. It didn't work in the first game, so it makes me think that this is probably a comfort pick that they're going with here, and probably a reason for that is that this is a hero that they're teaching this player to play on. This I would have agreed with before the introduction of Sinister Gaze. Sinister Gaze? No,
yeah, Sinister Gaze, yeah.
Before the introduction of Sinister Gaze, I would have actually agreed with this because Lich became a hero that offered a lot, helped you pull back lanes, etc. I actually don't agree with this anymore because that one spell is incredibly hard to use effectively.
Yeah.
And it changes the entire perspective of this hero. So if you're looking for a new hero that can really allow a new player to shine in, it's Ogre, 100%. Very straightforward, does a lot for his team, very tanky, so it's hard to be brought down. There's your guy. So if you guys are looking for something to help out a new player learn,
pick Ogre.
And this goes to everyone who's listening. Ogre Magi is fantastic.
Yeah.
One of the best possible heroes to learn Dota on at the moment.
And also, rather than playing Lich, because Lich also have this huge ultimate that you can mess up and that dramatically decreases the effectiveness of the hero. Ogre, as long as you have mana, you're always going to be effective as a hero.
Exactly. Just
get to the front lines, buy Midas, buy Ags, whatever.
And that's really important as well, because the Midas actually allows you to experiment with more items whilst you're learning, because you're just going to get a great influx of gold.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to this one. Miles picked up. I'm very interested to see how that one works out. I'm not a huge fan of Miles in general. I particularly don't like him here, and that's got to do with the draft here, because A, you have the Pudge that can hook friends out of harmful situations, and the Mars out of his own ultimate. But even more so, you have the Disrupt and Gyrocopter against you now, which means that you don't want to fight in a contained space.
Yeah, you actually can't activate the Arena of Blood as Mars. Unless you have BKB yourself, there's just no way that you can make that work out. This is so dangerous, actually. I'm so scared at the moment for how Ligbron are going to deal with this. And they also have to deal with the silence from Night Stalker, right? So this Mars hero is going to have a pretty rough go of things in general. And then I just don't see him having enough damage to kill anybody quickly except the Disruptor. The Pudge, Night Stalker, and Gyro can all be fairly tanky. Gyro in particular, once he gets BKB, Mars doesn't threaten you as a hero anymore.
The one thing that is useful, I guess, and obviously bear in mind, you can pretty much walk out of the LT, so it's not like you're trapped in there. But the issue still is that you don't want to fight it anymore, and they've actually doubled down on it.
Man, you know earlier when you were saying about how they want to deal with cheese and big spells that allow you to basically insta-counter the game, I wanted to say Faceless Void. Like, man, if they just pick Void, I'll be so happy. And I should have said it.
Well, what's great about this as well, I'll give them this much for certain, is that when you do pick up something like a Faceless Void here, and you have the Lich that you're trying to help a player learn on, this is actually something I like now, because the fact is, and you mentioned beautifully, is that you have a really long cooldown ultimate that is really important to get right. We saw the differences in that past game where a ultimate came out and was very effective in hitting multiple heroes and how much damage it can cause versus the one that was shrugged off by powers on the Spark. So in this situation, you just, it's the same sort of concept of a Witch Doctor. You drop down the chrono, you just slam into that bubble, you do a huge amount of damage, especially if you get levels. So I think one of the big things here is prioritizing this Lich, maybe picking up a Tomb of Experience or something, and dealing some damage for his team. Yeah,
the first usages of the Chronosphere have to be followed up with the Lich Chain Frost, because if they do not do that, they don't really have damage to put into the bubble right now. They're probably going to have to go back for the OG mid, right, before you beat, because otherwise, what else do they actually use to hurt the bubble inside? It's either that, Sniper, Wind Ranger perhaps. I don't think you want to be going TA in this situation, because of just playing TA versus Pudge, one of the roughest things in the world. But it does seem like Grey Gaming might be the ones who want to pick Templar Assassin themselves, as they ban the Lina at the very end of the draft.
I kind of like that ban, actually. It's something that I think does deal quite nicely with the likes of your more squishy heroes like the Disrupt. It's a big addition to their magical damage, so not a bad ban. But it is interesting to see that their first three bans are all like anti-cheese, and then it's like stuff that like the Weave and Pixel. I think that's more like we don't like this hero. I don't think there's. It's irritating. Sakuchi is a fantastic spell. Huskar banned out. Wonder why. This definitely didn't look like a Huskar game to me.
Maybe both sides want TA.
Fair enough. Yeah, you mentioned already. TA is something that does blow or gets blown away by Huskar, and it could work on both sides. So fair enough.
Yeah, but I'm also kind of like perplexed by Husker. I don't feel like it would have been that great for any team to pick up. Even if Grey Gaming did pick it up to counter the TA, doesn't really synergize that well with the rest of the lineup. But also, maybe it's their turn to ban out some cheese. They were back for the Bristleback, so this is probably the situation, like you mentioned, where he's just used to this hero, plays it often. But are they going to put... who's going where? Is it Bristleback mid or Mars mid? One of these heroes. Maybe they're expecting another melee hero to come out from Grey Gaming mid, and they're banking on being able to use Bristle or Mars in that situation.
I think this is likely going to be the Spirit Breaker and Bristleback as your... Sorry, the Spirit Breaker and the Faceless Void as your safe lane duo. Bristleback and Lich will probably go back into that off lane again and try to get a better start with this one than your Mars going to the mid lane. I think that's the most... Especially since I think Mars is quite a specialized hero. Ubik is one of the players with the... I think of these heroes, probably Mars is the most technically challenging to play. So it would make sense that Ubik has the most hours, is the most comfortable on a hero like that.
Yeah, because you can really make things, especially if you're missing spears on this hero, not getting rebukes at the perfect moment. It can make life complicated for you. But he could also be the one to play the Faceless Void. I don't know.
You won't see a mid void?
No, I don't. I don't.
So we'll leave it at that then.
Yeah.
But, well, interesting to see. I think Grays, by the way, for those who are also potentially watching, supporting your kids, maybe you're new to the scene stuff, the time spent here on this pick is likely coming from Grays, actually, and what a beautiful pick, actually. It's
That's
likely them
pick.
just having a conversation. They probably knew what they were going to pick well in advance, and they go for the Monk King. And listen, that is an absolutely beautiful draft. You can see the way that they've countered the fact that there's an environment in which their opponents want to play. They're generating things that get you out of there, but also things that want to make your opponents get out of there. The fact that you can drop down a Monkey LT potentially alongside, literally next to a Arena of Blood, next to a Chronosphere, and just change the entire perspective of the map, change where you can position yourself, etc. You've got the Disrupt and the Gyrocop, then just lay into those zones as well. They've literally dealt with the area of attack or area of effect attack that's been brought to them with frankly a better version of. They actually have a better version to compete against this with.
Weirdly enough, I actually think even though they Ligbron have a better draft this time around, I think it's a harder out draft because I just realized something, right? Pudge counters Spirit Breaker, Pudge counters the Mars, Pudge counters the Faceless Void. Being dismembered as Bristleback, one of the most awful things in the world. Being silenced as any of these heroes is awful. And also, the lanings are even worse. It's not possible for them to lane anywhere against this Monkey King. You can't put the BB in that lane. You can't put the Mars in that lane. You're going to have to, but this is going to be a Monkey King that's off to a really hot start without any real fear of being countered out by the enemy team. So Grey Gaming, yeah, I think they're looking very set for a 2-0 here.
Once again, this is a lot about learning as well. So hopefully the boys can put up a good show, and I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what they can put together. Also, it's got to be said as well, I just noticed on that screen, and I really do think it's important to bring out, the Lich's first game was played in the 6th month of this year. And that is pretty significant fact that he's getting an opportunity, so massive kudos to the school themselves for creating an environment where somebody who has clearly limited experience with Dota is actually able to perform in an environment like this. And who knows, maybe one day you and I are casting Mount Chili, not just in a VS Gaming Masters, but who knows, maybe even overseas one day, because you never know. And this is a brand new player, and I think everyone just taking that into consideration when watching this. It is it's a special thing that's actually happening. And I think perhaps Mount Chili is one of those players that almost signify exactly how special what's been happening here, thanks to these schools that have been becoming involved, thanks to VS Gaming, creating something truly magical in our country here. Because trust me when I say it, the esports is a time bomb. It is at some point going to go off. At some time, the same way people want to be Springboks, they'll want to be Dota players and CSGO players, etc. And it'll be just as viable, just as realistic. And frankly, I think with the right kind of support structure in the States, can actually just as healthy and just as good for both your mental well-being and your physical. Because a big part of this, by the way, especially, don't take my word for it, I'm a little bit chubby these days, but a big part of succeeding in the esports environment is making sure that you're healthy, that your body's still operating in the best possible way. So I think actually something really curious about is how the schools deal with that kind of thing, because I would love to see part of an esports teaching environment, actually part of it being something like tennis that supports eye-hand coordination, still gets you a bit fitter, still gets you thinking. I think sports actually go hand in hand with esports in that regard. You got to keep healthy.
Yeah, you got to keep healthy, you got to keep exercising, you have to get outside as well. Make sure that you're smelling the world, remembering that you're playing this game for fun and it's not your entire life. It should be a part of your life. You shouldn't like dominate everything about it. And also, one of the things that we've often had issues with when it comes to esports is just access in general, where newer people might not have the easiest way to be able to get into things. So whenever it's happening at a school level, everyone has to go to school. And, sadly, the boy himself, Mount Chile, is going to be first blood here. Feels bad, but he ran afoul of a Pudge that had a windlace, as well as a Night Stalker nearby him. There's no way he's going to be able to survive that.
Let's see these lanes. I like the idea that this Disruptor is it's a far more complex hero than the Ogre. So we're going to see opportunity for good old Leonard here to show us what he's got. I imagine he's just as good as his counterparts, so let's see what happens. Bot lane, I think this is going to be a struggle. I'm very worried for Mount Chile. This is a really rough lane. If you get caught up by a hook by Yusuf, and you're being roughed down at the time, with a Night Stalker running on after you, you are in a lot of trouble. So these hooks could potentially be an absolute bane of his existence.
Surex had to go level 1 time walk, knowing full well the danger of this kind of lane. So you're definitely right that if anybody gets caught, they could lose their lives here.
Top lane, Idea Known Childish, doing a lot of damage to Powers and Leonard, but the damage is being returned now as well. I actually think they get the kill here. Idea Known, not able to go to the right line, find the first kill, and that's an important one. They're going to try to run down Childish, but unfortunately for Powers and although they get the glimpse, I don't think they have the damage moving down. Spirit Breaker is a very hard hero to bring down. Even with the flak cannon, they're committing a huge amount, but high armor, didn't have the rocket barrage available at the time. Makes it a very challenging kill to bring down.
Kawi Leonard tried to go there for the body blocks to make sure that they get that follow-up kill, but they did not. That's another thing we have to bear in mind about this game. They have this glimpse on the Disruptor, massive counter to the Spirit Breaker, but also a huge deal for dealing with the Mars. Any kind of these heroes that require being able to be either more mobile than you or quickly kill you and then get themselves out of dodge. Glimpse is going to make that a lot more difficult to pull off. And the lane so far is going okay, and actually they're farming quite well here in the early game. This mid, Ubik, he's doing the right thing. He's not even bothering with trying to contest against this Monkey King. He realizes that all he can do here is rely on the cool spray in order to make sure he gets himself farm. So I don't think we'll see him even looking towards contesting this Monkey King at all. Stay out of range of the Jingle Mastery, get yourself some CS and you'll be happy.
It's interesting that that I called it wrong, by the way. So I was expecting ID Unknown Zero Mars to be played by Ubik, but they've actually changed things up here. So very different looking lanes in the end. Bottom lane though, it looks like they want to find some more. Immediate bash comes on Yusuf. That could hurt, but it's very hard to follow up with this. They do connect, no frost armor coming out from Aunt Chile. So that's probably the difference there, excuse me. The slow, I think with the slow and the damage coming from frost armor, I think they may have had the kill snare.
Yeah, I think so as well. But I think he got unlucky. If he managed to find the first hit bash on the time lock, then there's a definite chance that they get the kill. Oh, hook lands. But there's always going to be time walk. That's the huge counter, right? Because the hook cooldown is always longer than the time walk cooldown. So you can almost never actually kill Faceless Void up until the point where you have the silence coming in from Lucas van Rooyen.
That is going to be very problematic. So one of the really strong things against Faceless Void, just make sure he doesn't have access to those game-changing spells such as Time Walk and Chronosphere. Both do so much work. And the silence coming out from the Night Stalkers. It did get nerfed a little bit recently, but it's not. It's still a mighty spell.
Yusuf heading mid. They want to get a kill onto Ubik here, but I don't think they got this. This Bristleback is really tanky, and Ubik did the right thing. He made sure he buys himself a ring of health on this hero, so now he can always sustain himself versus the constant harass from this Monkey King. Never really feels threatened. Yusuf might actually be the one that dies here. Nah, just gonna walk past him. Somebody's going to die here.
Yeah, they're going after shots. Beautiful stun coming out from Frodo, and they will find the first kill. But it will come at the exchange of their Pudge as well, so it's support for support. Both will be acceptable. But look at the damage coming out here on both sides. Actually, they could potentially turn this. Got to be careful. It doesn't have much mana, so not able to get enough damage off. I like the usage of the shield. Not quite in range. Unfortunately, Shooter Creeps have that nasty habit of turning around. But a nice play there all the same. Nothing really too deciding from that fight. Both sides will be pretty confident with the outcome. And it's actually looking a lot better early on. Biggest concern once again is that Grey has a big financial lead. They're 2K already out in the deck.
Yeah, they're completely out farming, but they're not getting wrapping up as many kills as they were. Okay, they're losing out on these bounties. So now at this point, it's an experience situation where they're not necessarily showing exactly what to do, but overall, it's a much better start. Mechanically, they are playing better, getting a lot more farm on Surex down here at bottom. Ubik is doing quite well at mid, making sure that he's keeping up with this Monkey King. The only issue for them, I suppose, right now is just going to be the Smalls. Hasn't really been able to get anything out of this game. We're 5 minutes in and he's still only about to crack level 4 now. So the game's been hard on this side of the map, but overall, things could be worse. The only issue is that they don't have any real catch-up mechanisms for this hero. And Childish Albino hasn't really been able to bounce around the map the same way we would prefer Spirit Breakers to do. But there's still potential. There's still an opportunity for them. There's still a chance. Nothing's looking set in stone as of yet. And I still think they will have some good utility for the first ultimate. When the Arena of Blood is cast, if nothing else, it's going to give a great opportunity for them to make use of the Chain Frost and a lot of damage from Bristleback if he's inside the arena, setting off cool spray after cool spray after cool spray.
I would love to see some work coming out from Nightstalk in this first night, though. At the moment, just being beaten down. Looks like they will turn their attention to Mount Chile, though the hook goes awry. So it does mean that Shirax now has an opportunity to do some damage, but unfortunately being rode down as well. You've got to be careful. Two very tanky heroes. They're going to back out. Mount Chile needs to find his way out of here, though. Hook will be available in 17 seconds, so he's safe from that. But could be run down. Top lane, though, is where the action actually occurred.
Wait, Monkey King bottom.
Exchange some kills. Oh, they dropped the LT as well. So Faceless Void was able to walk away from them, but they will pick up the Lich. He still wants a piece of it, still going in afterwards. No level 6 yet available, so unable to change the tide. But Ubik will try to run down Yusuf. He's going to get slowed up by the Nightstalker. Can he find the kill? One more cool spray required. Does he find it? Goes in a little bit deep. Not actually able to connect with that pudge. They've got to be careful of the Nightstalker. Ubik still wants this. One more might be enough. Can he find it? Just limping away, Lucas. Both these heroes very fast, just outside the cool spray. In back comes Yusuf. Unfortunately, Ubik just not able to find the kill that he desperately wants. Now in comes the Monkey King. Yusuf might be tempted to make this hook, but he's got to be very careful. Very, very low HP once more on both these heroes. Surex comes back in. Can he find the time lock? Not on the Monkey King. Still wants Yusuf. He still has the rod available. They're walking the shrine. Popped by Lucas. So they can turn this fight around entirely now. Do they want to turn back into this? They're going to be satisfied just surviving it. But a nice aggressive play. Ubik could have been rewarded beautifully in that phase if they just got a little bit lucky. I mean, luck isn't part of Dota, but
yeah, they didn't get the luck button out on Surax. He wasn't hitting his time lock button hard enough to make sure he got the stuns out. Feels kind of bad, but on the bright side, they force a huge rotation from the Monkey King towards bottom, and they don't really end up losing out on anything themselves. He's actually still here.
Still hunting, and the reason for that, by the way, is they actually want the level 6 in their Disruptor, and this is very clever play for them, giving some space to the Disruptor, but they might backfire because they are standing in the Spirit Breaker. Now, Glimpse is fantastic against him, and that's going to solve one problem, but he still has to outrun Ubik. Drops down this field, and Ubik actually stayed in it. Could have potentially walked out, but now turns back into the Gyrocopter, who has Rock connected as well. Probably not enough to finish the job, and quite a big rotation actually to save a support.
They made that rotation because they knew that Disruptor almost at level 6. You want to try and get that up. But at the same time, though, them not being able to get more out of it, they move here now middle with Yusuf, so it's unlikely they're going to be able to claim this here one tower in the bottom lane, at least quickly. And while they're claiming it, it's going to be some time that Monkey King is spending not really doing anything. But on the bright side, okay, they're going to lose this kill on top. Mars is probably going to die here.
I'm going to watch mid, though, because they are going to commit quite heavily onto the Spirit Breaker. Should be able to finish the job. Bulldo's not going to save him in the top lane, as you mentioned. A nice bit of work there by ID Unknown. Will buy him time, as Powers has to accept that his dinner's gone awry right now. He actually is going very deep, but that's not a kill you're going to get, friend. You need to back that one off.
Yeah, the Illusion won't be able to get the kill. On the bright side, though, this Mars, in the time that we saw the rest of Grey Gaming being all across the map, doing things there, we did see the Mars being able to get a little bit back in terms of his own experience. So now it's level 5, close to 6. And they didn't end up losing the tier 1 tower in the top lane. It's going to take some damage right now. But Powers might actually be in trouble. He's getting charged up.
Oh, yeah, they're going to know this is happening, though. They have a Frodo on the high ground, but a lot of damage immediately comes down to Powers. They're trying to save him. Childish came in all alone in the end, so he's actually just going to fall here. Hook does not go the way they wanted to, but they'll be able to roam down anyway. So kills go the way of the side of Grey once more, but they actually find a cross kill. Bristleback got sent home. Actually, that's kind of fantastic for him. He gets the kill, and then he gets it by a very long-range rocket, but he's actually in a better position now. I don't think they want to take that fight top, but now he can provide some pressure onto the mid lane. So nothing lost just there. ID Unknown, though, does want to defend this top lane here. They're going to commit the ulti from the Monkey King in the back lane. No ulti yet available on the Lich. Hasn't used the Frost Armor just yet. Toss through a spear will not connect, though. Back lines, they go straight back in with the Spirit Breaker. They do not want to fight inside there. ID Unknown, that is not the space you want to be. Gets a really good amount of damage, but you just can't find the Monkey King ulti, and they're going to probably lose the Spirit Breaker as well. So we'll hop on after him. Does he have a charge available to get out of 3 seconds? Has to buy some time. He does need a charge away.
pick anything.
They're going to be fine. Does Surex have level 6? Oh, this might be a huge chrono.
Oh, he actually got caught up by the disruptor, and he's taken so much time. He's trying to limp away. Will he get a time walk? Won't be able to do so. Ubik, though, does have a fantastic opportunity to get a lot of kills here. Picks up one, should be able to pick up the disruptor as well. His glimpse has already been used, as well as Connect Field, no way out. So 6-11, way, way better than game 1.
Way better than game 1. A lot more farm available right now as well for the Ligbron side. They are, they were 2K gold behind at about 4 minutes, but they've only allowed that to slip to 3K at the 11-minute mark. So, and they're fighting mid as well. Ubik might die though. Yeah, he's dead.
He's taking a lot of damage here. We'll get stunned up, but he didn't actually quite finish through. Yusuf though, can he land the hook? He's betting it. He gets
Got
it.
him.
Yusuf makes no mistake. Nice decision there. You'll notice he waited for the first correction. If you just take a look mid, so we had the Bristleback moving back in this line. He sees the pudge and correctly immediately breaks out towards his right-hand side. He can't move up here because the gyrocopter is still in this position, and that will mean he'll have to change back. So he pretty much has to course straight down. And that minute you see the hook come through, making no mistake. That's how you play Pudge 101.
Yusuf quite miss, knows exactly what he's doing, and now they're back in the mid lane, pushing down this tier 1 tower. They also have a siege dragon nearby, so this is definitely going to fall. I will say though that it is a little bit unfortunate that nobody came in to try and support. Ubik's coming back now. The one issue that they have with their
they
draft...
caught him out as well. They knew exactly what was thanks to the monkey kick. And Ubik does have his back turned though, so a lot of damage not going the way they want. They're going to get the gyrocopter most likely. No, he didn't get off the cool spray, but he's going to turn his attention back to them. In comes through, they're going to drop down the cooldown just to make some space. But a lot of damage has been dealt to this side. They are very, very low. And that was pretty much all thanks to 2 heroes. That Bristleback is a problem, Snare.
Bristleback. Got the frost shield on him. On the backline, we did see that the Spirit Breaker was just interrupting things there. But the one issue with their drops is that they just really, really suck at bringing down towers. Monkey King might even have to resort for going for a Desolator after he finishes his Echo Saber, just to try and make sure that they have some kind of damage.
Surak's going to be careful here. He's very alone. There's a Disruptor on as well. So although Time Walk will buy him some HP, may not buy him the distance. In fact, right now he has used it. He's trying to back. They could actually chrono and turn here. There is that opportunity for them. They have support coming in here. Does he go for this? Is a perfect opportunity for the chrono. Does pop it. He gets everybody. But the Lich not level 6 yet. Unfortunately, he's going to get pulled straight back in and try to TP out. They bring in all the support they can. The Time Walk's good. They're actually in some business here. Out comes the ulti from the Wukong. But now Yusuf brought back. One will find the kill. Ubik, though, he's doing a lot of work here with these cool spray. Still wants to hunt one down. This time, no way out of it. He's going to turn his attention to the Night Stalker. They're going to bring down him as well. Beautiful work there. Now Kawhi wasn't able to get the Bristleback into his Connect Field, so having to use a little bit of fancy footwork instead, and he will be brought down as well. Ladies and gentlemen.
Bristleback, man.
What a response here. I mean, we were speaking about the entire first game of how we felt that this was going to be very one-sided. We even preferred the draft coming out from Gray in Game 2. We felt it was a stronger draft, but look at that. Dota, beautiful game. I said it in Game 1.
They're playing so well right now.
You get better game by game, and Ubik and his friends are looking pretty solid all of a sudden.
That was actually so ironic because they were chasing for that Faceless Void.
Sorry.
Powers might die top. Yeah, Powers actually dead. He's going to get solo killed by Challenge at Bino.
It drops the cooldown, might be enough. Does have the support coming in from Ubik, but there won't be a charge available in time, so unable to finish the kill. A pity he had no charges on his urn. That would have been enough.
Yeah, if he had charges on the urn or a single more bash would have been enough. 17% quote-unquote. Unfortunately ends up not being able to finish that off. But it's fine for them, right? Because not only do they take that fight at bottom, Surak got dragged back into the fight through the glimpse when he tried to TP himself out. So he got to be able to participate in the future kill. He kept farming in this bottom side of the map. And while all that was happening, ID Unknown was pushing on the tier 1. He lost his life to the Bristleback or to the Gyrocopter, but he ends up staying alive long enough on the second life that they claimed the tier 1. If they knew, yeah.
Did you see that? He was one tree over.
Yeah.
That was a very good guess. Obviously, I want to dumb this down a little bit for those who may not understand, but like if a Monkey King's tree that he jumps on gets cut down, he gets stunned for a very long duration. So using the Quelling Blade to try to do so, a lot of guesswork involved, but the prediction was almost spot on. Looks like we may see a fight break out here. They actually have caught out Mars, and unfortunately for him, he wants to face forward, not back. So it takes a lot of damage there. Going to glimpse one back. They're going to hear the Pudge ult coming up. Ubik, though, wants a piece of Yusuf. He's doing a lot of work here early on. Going for the Sunjin Yash as well, so he's happy to fight. Wants to fight early on, but they're all going to start beaming down onto him. Not a fight you really want to pick. You do not want to engage on this Bristleback.
Powers is fighting Surex, though, other side of the map. Oh, he actually got the solo kill on him. That was so nice. They caught the Faceless Void out without any mana on Powers. So unfortunately for him, he couldn't actually use the Time Walk or use the Chronosphere to keep himself alive there. Feels pretty bad to be him. But still, there is one also really good piece of news, is the fact that they managed to get some bounties.
Look at this aggression.
My God.
Ubik, he tries to get saved by use of nice awareness there, but he's just too strong. This bristleback could potentially be the key here to totally winning this game, because they don't have a solution from right now. Nothing yet looking for that silver edge as far as I can see. I would love to see one of these heroes pick it up. There's actually, in my opinion, at least two that are good silver edge carriers, that in the form of the gyrocopter, not a fantastic one, but definitely the Monkey King. This is a core item in this hero, potentially. And right now he's going for the, well, he's not anywhere near it. He's going for the fight right now as they do engage. There's a huge amount of ulti just laid down here. And this is what we spoke about, fighting into this pit at the moment that they've created themselves. Ubik very low, trying to limp away there. One more cool spray might be enough to get crossfield, but isn't. And that was, I think, without the disruptor ulti. It's really hard to fight in that. Didn't have the Faceless Void. That would shut down the Monkey King's ulti in that exact environment. But unfortunately for them, fighting into the Mars ultimate is your own peril at this point, because you can just get countered just like that.
Yeah.
Monkey King doing so much work. And I just mentioned before, he's looking for the Echo Saber at the moment, but potentially once he gets a little bit more farm, he can start working towards something like a Silver Edge. Still a long way away from, but that'll turn this game on its head, because the Bristleback is the core hero at the moment. I also really like to see that Tome of Experience that's being picked up by the Bristleback right now. That needs to go to a Lich. He is still sitting at level 5. It is such a difference when he picks up his Chain Frost.
Yeah, Chain Frost. There have been a couple of fights that we've seen happen so far where they escape on very low HP. Oh, that was close.
Oh, but Yusuf is kind of isolated here at the time being. He's got support coming in, but they may want to pick this fight here. Be careful, because he does have the Dismember and allies around. They're going to pull him back, they're going to glimpse him all the way. Looks like after that they're going to back off. And a good decision there. I like the fact that they're not overcommitting to every fight they see.
Yeah, they recognize that, well, guys, this time around Faceless Void does have full HP, full mana as well. Probably not the fight that we want to be taking. So they let it go, back themselves away somewhat. The one, like you mentioned, the Chain Frost, they need a lot, but they also need to make sure that they finish off this Hand of Minus for Surax. He's trying to fight a bit too much right now.
Oh, he could potentially line up a pretty decent Crone here. They do have the opportunity to support into it, but it looks like they're going to engage themselves. In comes the Spirit Breaker. Nice aggression. Going to hit 2 with the Charge of Darkness. They glimpse him back. That was a mistake, but they walked straight into it. Can they get the Chrono off? Can they get the Chrono? They're looking for the angle, not able to do so. One of them was able to TP out under that guys, but they will lose the Gyrocopter and save the Chrono. I'm okay with that. That's a good decision in the end.
Yep, and they give the kill towards the Faceless Void, making sure that he's the one that needs the catch-up. He's the one that claims the big kill. They should be able to finish off a tier 1 tower as well. My goodness. So everything seems to have changed for them, but they're going top.
Lane engagement though. Charge went in very deep. They didn't activate the. In fact, did activate the bulldozer. So it doesn't matter. Brought down. They dropped the Wu King's command as well. They want to make sure that they can take this tower without any issue. Not the right play coming out here. Now they're going to turn their attention to Ubik. He is very hard to bring down still. Once back in on this one, actually. Going to go into the Wukong Monkey as they commit the Chronosphere as well. I'm not a massive fan. I think they had this without it. But bottom, they're going to try to bring down the courier. Was that fortification available for them? I'm not sure. But they do find a courier kill as well, sniped up by Luke. Now he has to back off though. He's got friends coming in from the Disruptor. Wants to make sure that he's out safe. But in comes ID Unknown. Does connect as well. No, it doesn't quite latch on. And the Glimpse comes out as well. So a little bit of time bought here by the Disruptor, using some fancy footwork.
Nice.
Leonard, this time, doing so much work, will be brought down on stand. But he's answered that question. Does this man know how to play more than just Noga? Yes, he does. Using his Disruptor pretty well in the end.
He ends up still dying, but I'm okay with that. You force out the Arena of Blood in exchange for that. I'm with you in the fact that they didn't really need to use the Chronosphere. And Surax, he could have maybe used it a bit earlier and caught all 3 heroes, perhaps saved an additional life or 2. But at the end of the day, they managed to defend their tier 1 tower. They take that fight. Gyrocopter still does end up completing the Aghanim Scepter. But this game, I think the important thing, as long as Ligbron doesn't allow themselves to get completely sucked into the pace that Grey is setting right now, then they should be okay. I'm very, very impressed that they still have most of their tier 1 towers at this point in time. Even though they're poised to lose both top and bottom quite soon, the fact that they still have these available. And there might be a fight breaking out again. Lucas might be dead.
I'm aware.
Bottom rune.
Oh, there we go. I'm like looking everywhere.
There we go.
Nice talk.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, he's in trouble, especially if they get the bash. Do try to support with a cooldown. I really do like the way Grey play, though. It's got to be sitting in. Their teamwork is fantastic. The fact that they use their spells and trying to bring down, not just to bring down opponents, but to spoil each other as well. It's beautiful to see. Yusuf, though, going to head out after collecting the bottom ruins. I think they got 2 apiece there. Yeah, 2.
2 apiece. Was it 2 or 3? They actually got 3.
Oh, they got 3? Oh, okay, well.
Because
so
Yusuf hooked away the bounty rune at bottom as it respawned.
nice.
So he grabbed that. Now, though, we do see the S and Y for the bristleback. Here's where the game can start to get interesting, right? Because now their risk is really high of just being chased down by this man. Make sure that you are not around this BB. And he's going for the Radiance here at the very end. I'm actually okay with this. I think one of the issues that they've been running into is that outside of the bristleback, they don't actually have any spread dot damage. Every time you drop down all your spells, you don't have any additional DPS coming out. So him getting the Radiance will enable him to stick around in these fights a little bit longer, and it'll make them less likely to want to, fight underneath the Wukong's command anymore. Because if you're next to a bristleback with the Radiance as well, you're going to be taking a lot of damage thanks to cool sprays and bristleback passive.
I must admit, I'm not a huge fan myself, and probably the biggest reason is about timing here, is that this is a really hard item to get, and because he's gone for the Sanjin Yasha build, he actually wants to fight. So now he really is relying on fighting heroes and farming them successfully in order to get this in a reasonable time. It feels a little bit of a gamble, in my opinion. I think if you can get this by the 30-minute mark, then I'm happy. Top lane, though, somebody's not. It's going to be the idea known. He's being run down at the moment. Caught up by the Connect field as well. Easy work. Great, we'll pick up the first tier 1 of the game as well. And in fact, I lie, second tier 1.
Yeah, it feels like Idea Unknown has just been the punching bag this game. But, if he's the one that's dying 7 times and nobody else on his team is, I'm okay with that. It's okay. They're going to just trade towers as well. And they don't get much out of this. But as you mentioned, I definitely agree with that if he gets it before 30 minutes, then it's fine. Anything later than that, I would even argue that, say, if it's later than 28, it's probably too late. And they might take a fight at top. Bristleback's already shown up.
You're actually going to see the Monkey on the... he jumps off. But they're going to recommit to this as well. Gets off the ultimate at the very least. Ubik comes in, so this is where it matters. Pulled back immediately. So does he want this fight? I kind of feel like he does.
Yeah,
but he needs his team to come in as well. So Mars would... Oh, it's a real shame he didn't catch anyone after the spear. Would have been something that really set up for a good fight here, and I think they were in a good position to do so. Gyro's already left, Nightstalker also on the other side of the map. 3 versus 4, they finally do have that Chain Frost available in their Lich. Could have been in business.
Could have been a great fight, but nicely done from the side of Grey Gaming to get out of that situation. They take the tier 2, they escape Monkey King as well, making sure that he doesn't get brought down. One thing I like about how they played that, they make sure that as soon as the Spirit Breaker is dead, they just stay far away from each other. Just use the one ultimate. Don't bunch up, don't get close to one another, don't get chronoed, don't find yourself getting huge arena'd. And there's no Blink Dagger available yet from the Mars. He's working towards one right now. I think this actually might be one of the bigger power spikes once this item comes out, because then you can get directly atop the Disruptor on the backlines, force the Zero to have to use the Static Storm in a sort of subpar position. And already just by doing that, you enable Ubik to just run around in the middle of the team fight doing what he wants. It looks like he's actually going to have this Radiance at about the 26-27-minute mark.
We missed out there, Mars. Fortunately, that's what we call a commentator's curse. As you're talking about, the Blink Dagger gets set back a little bit longer.
Feels bad, man.
But Ag's out in the Nightwalk. I love this item.
He already has it. Are you kidding me?
Bottom lane, they're going to have to use it because they're going to use the charge, the darkness, try to use it as their allies. They try to bring down the Spirit Breaker and do manage to do so. In the back lines, they'll find another through powers. So a very important little passage of play here going the way of Grey once more. That power spike coming out from the Ags, I think he picked it up very recently and immediately coming into effect. But be careful, Syrax is looking a lot better. Once again, just charging units down here. Does Syrax turn and burn here? Monkey King comes in as well. He could potentially just drop the chrono. No, controlled beautifully in the end as well. Grey really do shine when they get an opportunity to just play together like this.
And this is just as they picked up the double Aghanim Scepters. They rush at you. And we saw that Ubik was not prepared for the amount of damage that Bristleback is, the Gyrocopter is dealing right now. And one of the major things about the Gyro having access to the Aghanim Scepter is that now you get to do damage to Bristleback's fronts. If Bristleback is chasing you, you're doing more damage to him than otherwise. And you're going to get another kill mid. Easiest thing in the world, using this item with the Maelstrom as well to its absolutely highest effect. And they're going to just take this tier 2. Already the rest of his team succeeded in taking tier 2 bottom. Just going to have to move in for middle. And it seemed like they just flipped the switch because now suddenly Grey Gaming just going off right now.
Yeah, they've come alive here. And I think this is a kind of interesting position as well. This to me has got to do with warding. So you can see on the top side of the map here, draw your attention to the mini-map, that there's these areas that have currently been warded out by this side. And what this has meant effectively is, hold on, and it means that Lucas is in trouble. A bit of a cover stun comes out. Once again, that silence is devastating. But they're using Ubik to just stay slightly out of range, slow them down. Time War comes in, they should be able to find this kill. Important one, very low. One more required. Anybody? Time Walk
There
going to
we
be there
go.
to secure it. Surex actually picking up as well, which is quite nice from the Night Stalker. Is a little bit tasty, and he gets a fair amount of cash off it. But just what I was going back to what I was saying is you have these two wards in the top section of the map here, and what this really tells you is that they're not here. That's something to bear in mind. Limited information elsewhere, but they were operating in this side of the map here. But the fact that you see nothing coming through these lanes here means that this section of the map is almost certainly what's being controlled by the side of Grey. So when you operate over here, try and pick a fight in that area, without vision, bad mistake. And it really did cost them, and they lost quite a bit of it. You can see they're now down to almost 14k. If I take a quick peek here at the net worth, you can see that sharp dip that occurred around the time that team fight happened. 5k at 20 minutes, excuse me, 25 minutes, totally manageable, but 14k, a very big difference.
It's a very different beast altogether. And now, because of the way that this game suddenly started spiraling, we already have the challenge for the BKB in the mid lane. Bristleback had to switch item builds, go for the Blade Mail instead. BKB with Aegis is going to be soon available for the side of Great Gaming. Inside the Roshan pit, which hasn't been scouted out just yet. So they don't know. They won't be able to stop this. I mean, if they knew, they might be able to get off like a big chrono with the Chain Frost bouncing around, Arena of Blood to follow that up with. They might actually just sacrifice Lucas van Rooyen's life at bottom, but even then, he's not even going to die. He's going to pick up a Haze Rune. The fight's coming for them. They're getting pincered in. They might actually end up losing more than just access to the Roshan pit. They might lose their lives and racks as well.
Yeah, Night Stalker knows that they're in a fantastic position, so Lucas goes in very deep. He's actually got 3 right on top of him. That silence is working out. They've got to make sure that they do find these kills, though. On the back lines, the Mars got off a decent one. Do you want this, Surax? Do you go in? He's going to get caught up by the rocket, so he wants out. Time walks away, moving back towards the shrine. They do have the buyback. This time I like it. Disruptor will drop his ulti, and it's a really good one into the cooldown as well. Right now, they are melting them, and they pick up a couple, but they haven't finished the job yet. Surax, can you make something happen? He's losing all of his life here. He hasn't been able to get off the chrono and will die without using it. Into the Wukong's command he goes, and he will fall as well. Ubik, though, needs to make something. He has brought back himself. They're trying to find this kill, and they want to finish the job here, get another kill, make it 6-0. And Ubik, in fact, it may even be more. Can they find the hook? The hook goes not quite right, but the disruption will be there. So the glimpse. Now controlled once more. Props to Blade Mill. They do have to be careful of Night Stalker, but they're going to make really sure of it in the end. Does find the cross kill, but that is so worth. 18k going to grow even more, and potentially we're in the situation here where they can get some racks. Well, unfortunately for them, just not finding the chrono from Yusuf. You could see he was really uncertain about when to go and when not to, and he was punished accordingly.
Yeah, they wanted to get a big chrono with the Chain Frost bouncing around, but unfortunately for them, not really able to make that happen. On the bright side, though, they do manage to kill the gyrocopter, and they brought him down twice, so that's the Aegis that gets burnt away as well. So that is probably going to end up stopping the push coming in from Grey Gaming. But man, they are starting to have some major issues dealing with this Wukong's command. This Monkey King, your Frodo Harry has just been making life very, very impossible. Every time they start these fights, the Lich can't even get into position to try and cast the Chain Frost because immediately there's a monkey directly on your face, beating you down. We've seen that the Disruptor has been positioning really well in these fights, making sure that the kinetic fields controlling all their movements. And of course, these silences from Lucas van Rooyen becoming really problematic.
Oh, Surax, no. Surax, no.
Not worth.
No, even if he gets a kill, it's not worth. And he actually might be brought down for this instead. They're going to control him quite nicely. We'll turn him back and we'll finish the job on the Disruptor. But unfortunately, that chrono is so important to saving your team fight. I think he saw him go invis. It was just, this is an opportunity. But that was just a Glimmer Cape snare.
That was just Glimmer Cape. That's all he used.
It wasn't, you could have waited it out first if you really wanted to kill. But committing the chrono for that, it's just not worth it. You need that chrono on multiple cores at this point in the game.
Also, Monkey King, while that was happening, used the Silver Edge to bring down the Bristleback. So BB died. You lose. You just, like, all across the map, it just doesn't seem like Grey Gaming are prepared to stop. What happened? Like, it looked so good. Then Grey Gaming just decided, all right, guys, we're done playing around. Let's be a bit more serious about this. Let's put the aggression towards them. I do like that Surax does have a Maelstrom now, though. That's the one thing about this game, though, is that...
full BKB as well.
Yeah.
So he's in a fantastic position as far as, like, comparatively to last game, I should say.
You know what's actually interesting, right? Is that because it's Faceless Void, until the game ends, there's always potential for this game to turn completely around, just with a really decent Chronosphere.
I just really wish we saw a little bit more teamwork when it came towards this Lich. They needed to create some opportunities from just farm mid, etc. Chain Frost does a lot of damage, but this day in the game, it's only level 1. Yeah. And what you really needed was an earlier Tomb going his way to make sure that he got to that level 6 a little bit earlier. That would have made a massive difference in early fights. Additionally, the fact that he's reached the point where he doesn't have space on the map. He's being hunted by the likes of your Frodo Harry's Monkey King. it's very hard for him to even get experience. He only gets it now based on being involved in team fights.
Yeah.
And with the amount of AoE damage, it's incredibly difficult for Lich at this stage of the game.
Lich just has to struggle, plot along. Doesn't even have the level 10.
ID obviously.
Illusions,
there.
yeah.
Were there illusions there?
Yeah, there were illusions for like a second. I think there were Night Stalker illusions, but unfortunately, there were gyrocopter illusions, yeah. Gyro picked up some illusions. They were mid, farming. That feels so bad. Feels pretty bad. But fortunately for him, it's not really a long cooldown. It's 90 seconds. Or 75 if he's got the level 2.
He's actually... he should have it by the next fight, you'd imagine. I like the fact that there isn't an overcommitment here from Grey as well. That's often a call sign. You see that big LT being missed, you just barrel down. And they've opted not to do exactly that. But they have smoked up. So they do want something out of this last passage of play. They're going to start moving towards the opponent's jungle. And let's see if they can find anything tasty. There is...
They're
going to find probably one of the harder heroes to bring down. Is that actually Shadow Blade equipped Spirit Breaker, but he walks right past the ward. We'll get glimpsed back into it though, and should be finished off, and will. Does he have buybacks? Because that could be telling. He does not have buybacks.
Surex has activated BKB. Surex might die. Oh, nice chrono.
He misses the Night Stalker, unfortunately, but we'll buy him a bit of time. But unfortunately,
that's just an escape chrono, and he activated the 10-second BKB for that. That's just a Night Stalker. Are you kidding me right now? Night Stalker or Solar Crest just chases you down. You almost lose your life. You're forced to BKB, chrono. And now suddenly they're like, well, the next time we try to siege this high ground, we're looking very much favored doing it because we know you don't have the bubble, yeah?
They don't have the Dark Ascension, sure, but they have absolutely everything else. And, well, Yusuf's going fishing right now. So if he catches any targets out, it's a big problem as well. And I got to say, this is quite hard. Without the chrono, I actually don't see how they fight into this. There's just... The monkey can literally walk up the ramp, drop the Wukong's command, and surprise, surprise, there it is. And how do you fight into this now? You can drop the Lich ulti, I guess, but look at ID unknowing. He's just destroyed. Ubik realizes, well, he's not what he once was because there's that Silver Edge available just to break through his defensive capabilities. He's going to drop down the ulti onto this Faceless Void. I don't think he survives this. He'll be brought down as well. And they're going to start ulting the Bristleback on the back line. Out comes the Meme Hammer, though, as they do start finishing up this game. It looks like they'll bring down the Bristleback one more time. And although in fact, they should be able to finish off the Bristleback. No one's helping Frodo. He's very low. Oof. But they won't be able to accept it. And... they'll lose the first set of racks here. I think they can take significantly more. They have lost a lot of HP, so they have to be a little bit careful of the Bristleback. But you can pinch the Silver Edge straight in after him here and finish the job. I hear the ulti coming out from the Lich. Nice split, though, but does actually... He brings it back! Yusuf was trying to save his friend, but he's made a little bit of madness occur on the map now. Can they find something with this Bristleback? They're going to bring down one. They'll bring down another.
Oh, my God.
Ubik, very low.
Oh, he got pinned. He got pinned.
Can they finish this off? A lot of work being done here by ID Unknown with the Arena of Blood, but unfortunately no follow-up whatsoever. That's when you needed another Lich ulti. The first one ended up being pretty good regardless, but you can see the idea behind what they were trying to achieve, but they haven't quite been able to fully use their strategy as they want to. They know exactly where Monkey is by virtue of the Shadow Blade being charged onto. But Yusuf and friends now being forced back. Ubik actually realizes that this is an opportunity. The Monkey has used that Silver Edge, which means he's got a little bit of opportunity to work through where he doesn't have to be scared of it. The backlines, they want to find a little bit more. Surex trying to find the kill on the Monkey. He did get the charge off, which means they're going to know exactly where it is. Does he have the ulti? Do they have the dust? They don't have vision. Do they have the chrono? This I'll accept. God.
Oh my goodness, they didn't have any reveal. They should have chronoed him.
Should have
chronoed him.
And this is why Dota is such a complex game, because we saw a very similar situation play out in the sense that you had an invisible character running away from Surax, and we were both agreeing not the time to chrono. Yeah. And then here we are saying, no, you should have chronoed.
You should have chronoed this time.
Dota, a cruel mistress, as it were. But at the moment, at least a little bit of life in the side. At the moment, they're not rolling over by any means. They've only actually lost to one rack. So you mentioned earlier, Snare, that there's always chance with the Faceless Void on the map.
Now that Chronosphere is back online, we actually see them backing away from Grey Gaming. And the only reason that we felt comfortable making that push is because they didn't have to play into the bubble. But with that being online, even with their advantage, they don't want to try to take a fight. Looks like they're going to back themselves away from going up the hill, a decision I agree with. There is one big thing now, though. Monkey King has Axe. Oh, my goodness.
That really does hurt. I want to say that there's also an opportunity here. The most farmed here on the map is a Gyrocopter. He just bought out on Satanic. He needs to farm up 1,500, call it, reliable gold before he can actually fight again. If they potentially find the kill on the Gyrocopter, there's some problems there.
Yeah.
I got to say as well, just as a message to anyone listening, the only time I think it's really acceptable to buy out is if your teammates cannot and you know it's likely that you'll be the last one alive in the fight.
Yeah.
Or if you are buying a BKB.
Yeah, if you're buying BKB, it's also fine.
Those are like the two environments where buying out is kind of acceptable. In this case here, I don't think it was the right call. He's obviously been confident that his team can survive without him potentially. But if he gets caught out without many spells used, that's a massive disadvantage. That is literally their net gold lead that disappears, and you lose all the firing power of your gyrocopter. But
he's so strong, though. Is he going to die?
Yeah, throwing caution to the wind because he's coupled up with his team, and they're going to head all the way down this bottom lane, see if they can finish the job here in this set of racks. And immediately in, you can see that they're going to set up. Oh, the Chrono came out. Will, in fact, be after the Monkey King dropped his ultimate as well. They haven't been able to finish the job in it. No Lich ulti just yet. There it is, bouncing through. A lot of damage is flying their way, but they haven't found enough. This drop to ulti has done its work as well. Fighting into that Wukong's command was too much of a challenge in the end, and Grey should be able to close this one out from this position now.
Unfortunately, the rest of the team wasn't linking up with him at the exact same time with the Chronosphere. So a little bit of new jitters, some miscommunication happens, and as a result, a brilliant Chronosphere ends up going more or less wasted by the team.
They're going to go do a little bit of damage by the fountain here as well to bring down one. Will probably bring down another, yes they do. Lucas makes sure of it. Once more on this bristleback, want to send one more home and do so. Certainly over now. GG, I think, is fair to be called. We'll see if they want to hang this one out till the throne falls. But I got to say, a much better performance in every conceivable way coming out from the side. Unfortunately, just not quite coupling up. The last fight could have been different even if the Wukongs wasn't down at that exact moment. So, way better. Got to give it to the boys. They've done a fine job recovering from the first game, and I'm interested to see what they bring tomorrow.
Honestly, I kind of feel like in this particular game, there were maybe 4 or 5 mistakes that they made which sort of made it impossible for them to win at the end of the day. But they could have actually won this game. I was especially impressed by what I was seeing in the first, let's say, 15, 20 minutes of the game. And you know what I also think would have made a huge difference in this game? So the Bristleback, after losing that one fight at bottom, when the Gyrocopter just picked up Aghanim Scepter, he decided that he's going to buy the Blade Mail. I believe it was minute 22 or something. Let's see. So when this Blade Mail come out for Ubik, minute 24, he at the time had about 3.2k gold, making good progress towards picking up the Radiance. I think if he picks up the Radiance, there probably are a couple of different engagements, because a lot of the time that Great Gaming were fighting around the Wukong's command, they would all go inside the Wukong's command knowing that that's their area of safety. We can fight here happily, not having to be worried or afraid about them dishing out damage to us in the meantime. We also have the Disruptor to give us Static Storm, so Ubik can't do any damage in that area. Had he finished the Radiance on the Bristleback, it's probably a bit of a different situation, because then you get to run into the fight, and they have to actually kind of decide. We can't actually dish out the damage by ourselves unless we leave this small zone. Then maybe the dynamics are different, but opting to go for the Blade Mail didn't really help them out in the grand scheme of things. And the chrono that they took, there was just a couple of times where the chronos weren't necessary or were too soon from Surax, not waiting for the rest of his team, not waiting for his BKB to be back online before going in for the Chronosphere, etc. Things like that change up, things like that don't happen again. We have a very different ball game. Maybe we're still playing. Maybe we have a victory right now for Ligbron, but Great Gaming still, they played the better team. They played the better Dota. They made their draft work for them. And there were a couple of iffy moments, but once their draft came online with the double Aghanim Scepter on Night Stalker and Gyrocopter, then it was like, alright, now we're strong, and we're just going to show you how strong we are the rest of the game.
I totally agree. I think also when you throw back to that minute 25 that we spoke, where that tail started, and that particular team fight that went awry, you can see it here immediately. It was just a sharp descent at that point. Everyone was very competitive up until that point, and we saw the game just totally slip away. So obviously with Dota, one of the big things is that you get opportunities, you need to take them, but you also need to make sure that you can make the right calls at the right time in the game, make the right decisions. Unfortunately, that was a scenario where it just completely slipped away, got caught out, brought down, and they were unable to find a way back. And Great Gaming just kept the pressure up, kept making the right calls. And I think one of the biggest telling signs in is that I thought in the original game that the biggest issue was the individual player skill, but we never really got to see Ligbron actually really play Dota in that first matchup. This one around, I'm kind of surprised actually. Once again, I spoke about how many more hours the Grey team has, but it was actually the teamwork that really shone in the second matchup, showing how well they could combine together and make sure that they can get themselves a fairly convincing 2-0 in the end.
Yeah, they honestly played better than a lot of the pubs I've been in, and even some of the higher ranked pubs that you'll come across. So I'm kind of excited to see what they do tomorrow as well, because as mentioned, as much as Ligbron are gaining experience from this, right, there's also Great Gaming's opportunity to learn more about themselves as a team, learn more about the players, come up with different drafts, right? Doing a push draft you're like, guys, whatever, let's figure this out. Let's see where this goes. YOLO gaming. I was actually just happy with what I saw from both sides. And I do commend Ligbron for not completely crumbling after game 1. A lot of teams would have been like, lost the game in 10 minutes on game 2 because of how bad game 1 went. But in this situation, they still lost. But again, it was a loss of their own making. It was a more proactive loss than just sitting back and letting the enemy pummel you into submission. So I was happy.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll be back a little bit later. I'm not sure what the time is. It is... There's no cell phone here, guys, I promise.
It's 11:30.
11:30. So I think our next game is at 12:30. So we'll be back again with some more action. Apologies. It'll be 1 o'clock actually. So I guess we'll take a bit of a break until then, guys. It's been a pleasure once again. I think what we're doing here is truly special, and I cannot tip my hat enough. The hat has come off. For all the different people that have played a part in making this kind of thing happen. Firstly, I think it's fantastic that VS Gaming have gotten involved with schools and given people an opportunity to play in an environment where the best possible players play. I don't know if our camera shows it. In fact, I almost want to stand up and just tilt it up for a moment. We're literally sitting right in front of the booths that the best players in the country have played in. And it's an opportunity for these kids to sit inside and get an experience what is. It's kind of like going and bringing a rugby team and putting them in Newland Stadium and in the same very right. There's an opportunity to see what it's like playing in the same environments that the best players play in. And we talk about so often when we deal with the biggest tournaments, when new players coming in and talking about how hard it is to adjust from being in a bedroom to being in a live event with an audience inside a booth. It's totally different. And now we're talking about individuals that by the time that they are 18 years old, potentially, in fact, most of them probably will still yet to be 18 years old, they will have actually been able to say, I know what it's like to play in a booth. I know what it's like to play in front of a live audience. And there's an opportunity that we never got. And because of that, it's not just VS Gaming, it's obviously the schools that are supporting this venture as well. So if your school is here, you should be mighty proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think as an organization that is responsible for educating our youth, creating opportunities and explaining how, teaching children how the world works, this is a real part of the world that's only going to get bigger. And you're encouraging individuals to be community leaders, to be involved professionally, potentially at some stage in their life, and all things in moderation. It's an absolutely fantastic venture. So my little innovative pitch for it, I'm sure I'll give you a chance to let it, because I'm sure you want to give it a break as well, but I'm sure you'll say many other positive things about the individuals involved, but massive shout out to all the schools, VS Gaming, the parents who supported this thing. If you have a child playing here and you're involved in any way,
kudos to you.
Thank you.
Legitimately.
On that note, let's take a break.
Okay, cool guys, here at Comic-Con 2019. Huge upgrade from last year. Here obviously for the VS Gaming tournaments that are going on. VS Gaming's been a great platform for gamers, new and old alike, to come and show their medals, show what they got. It's been such a great platform for us to play throughout the year, come together, show the different guys what we got and how we perform, and then the setup here this year is a massive upgrade.
Well, I think comics drive imagination. So in driving imagination, it allows parents to engage closer with their kids. So I definitely think it's a conversation to encourage, and it's definitely an expansion into exploring life with your kids and having fun and being creative.
Hey guys, I'm Goku. This is Raphael. My name's Graham. This is Leo. I think it's super important that dads encourage their kids to enjoy a day like this. I think it's super important. A lot of my heroes are comic book heroes, and they don't really exist in real life, and this is my one day that I get to celebrate them along with my kids, and they celebrate it with me. So it's a symbiotic relationship, and it's super cool. And you know what, it's such a safe space to do it in, and people enjoy it. And one of my bucket list places to go is Comic-Con New York. So one day hopefully I'll get to go there, but I'm so glad it came here to SA. Thank you, SA. It's the best day of the year. Well, 4 days of the year. I've got a weekend pass, so it feels like one long ass day.
The Telkom VS Gaming Masters 2019, it's happening!
It is happening, and we're almost at the finals for the CSGO. We're so excited.
You guys have done so much for gaming here Just tell me a little bit about that 1.1 million rand that you guys have put down for the winners.
I mean, for us from a Telkom perspective, we've been dedicated around providing esports for gamers, and every year we want to do better and better, and it's about increasing that prize pool, making sure that our winners are acknowledged and becoming the celebrities and giving the attention to esports that it needs.
Telkom's been involved with esports and gaming in general for the last 11 years.
11 years, can you believe it, hey?
I mean, you guys have been very supportive of the gaming community. What are you guys thinking about going forward?
I mean, for us, it's making sure that we're improving year on year. If you look at our displays, every year we want to make sure that we're giving out a much better, spectacular event and making sure that the gamers get the recognition that they want. It is a sport, and it's an exciting sport, it is growing, and we're there as the broadband provider and ensuring that we're improving and ensuring that our services are improving along those lines, yeah.
Are you guys committed to getting behind VS Gaming at Comic-Con for the next couple of years?
Well, from our point of view, it's always about evaluating and seeing how each and every single show goes and ensuring that that we're getting the value.
Esports players aside, what is Telkom doing for the gamers like us that are sitting at home, live streaming or playing games online?
You know what, I think bringing VS Gaming closer to Telkom has allowed us the opportunity to understand where the grid points are for your gamers and what we're looking at. Please, everyone keep a lookout for us. We're building a product for gamers. It's coming out soon. Understanding all the problems that you've been having with our network from a service, making sure that you are always on. This is where we are understanding the key points are, and we definitely, our product propositions, our product teams are working on it, both from an LTE perspective as well as from a fiber perspective. As you know, from a mobile side, we are introducing a mobile gaming proposition coming out shortly within the next couple of weeks.
Ooh.
We're committed across all our platforms.
So we'll hear about that later.
It's coming.